Hello, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. Now today I'll be showing you how I make this delicious raisin cheese bread. Let's get started. Here I have some bread flour, I have some milk, some cheese, I have some raisin, some sugar, a little bit of baking powder. Over here I have some eggs, I have my yeast, some butter, and a little bit of salt. I'm going to go ahead and start off by proofing my yeast. So 2 warm milk, I'm going to add the sugar and the yeast mixture, give it a good mix and set it aside to proof for 10 minutes. Bear in mind the yeast does not like hot water or too cold water, so you want to make sure that the water is heated just right to 105 to 110 degrees. Now that my yeast is nice and proof, I'm just going to go ahead, add my eggs, give this a good whisk, and continue on with the rest of the ingredients. Now here to the flour, I'm going to add the baking powder and the salt. Normally when you do homemade stuff, they tend to start feeling a little bit dry on day 2 and day 3. But with the addition of the baking powder, you can get a longer shelf time with this one. So that's why the baking powder is my secret ingredient. So now I'm just going to go ahead, use a spatula to combine just to get it together a little bit before I turn this out on my work surface. So typically, normally, if you want to have a softer bread dough, your dough is going to be nice and soft. So even if the dough feels a little bit tacky, you don't want to add any more flour. You want to knead until everything comes together. I will leave a written measurement down below so you could go ahead and check it out. So at this point, my dough has come together somewhat. Now I'm going to add my butter. And I'm just going to add the butter and work the dough in until it's nice, soft, and stretchy. Normally I will use my stand mixer for this, but I want to go ahead and show you that you could also achieve these nice fluffy buns by hand as well. So here I am just kneading. It takes a little bit longer time when using hand than your stand mixer, but trust me, the end result is always going to be great just as well nonetheless. Plus you get to play with your food a little bit, right? So now to this, I'm just going to spread this apart, add the raisin, and I'm going to knead until the raisin is fully incorporated throughout the dough. Now that the dough is nice and come together, I'm just going to go ahead and allow this to proof for about an hour or 45 minutes. So I just greased my pan and I'm adding my dough to this, and I'm going to cover with some cling wrap and set it aside to proof in a warm area. Now it's summertime, so the proofing time in my house does not take long, so I just cover this and place this on my countertop, and in 2 hours, well, in 45 minutes, my dough was ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and deflate, and I'm just going to push the air out a bit, and then I'm going to cut these. Now you could shape them into the desired size that you like. So I went ahead, I think I got 10 or 12 out of these. I wanted to make them a little bit on the even side, so I'll be using my food scale to get a more accurate measurement. But if you don't have a food scale, don't feel intimidated. Just go ahead and just estimate it, judge it. So however you feel like getting it, you get it. And yeah, you don't need a food scale, but I'm a little bit extra and I have one, so I decided to use my food scale to make sure that all the sizes are equal. Now that I'm done measuring out all my dough, I'm just gonna go ahead and start to form these up. Now I'm just gonna press the dough down and I'm gonna use my hands to push it out a little bit on the outside so the middle is on the thicker side so the cheese doesn't seep through. Now bear in mind I'm using the Jamaican tastee cheese, and this cheese is not a very melty cheese, but when I was growing up I used to like to buy raisin bread and then add the cheese to it. So I said, why not combine the two, make the raisin bread and bake the cheese into it so we don't have to worry about buying the cheese and cutting the cheese and all of that. Now this was a favorite of mine growing up, and yes, I absolutely love raisin bread and cheese, so I decided to recreate it. So here I am showing you how I make another one. I just press out thin on the outside and add my cheese to the middle, because once I gather it all up it would become back a little bit thicker. So I'm just gonna pinch this and seal and form it nicely so it doesn't pop open. And yeah, I'm gonna set this aside on my baking tray to rise for another 30 minutes while my oven preheats to 350 degrees. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover this with some cling wrap and allow it to rise. Now after 30 minutes, this is what it's looking like. So I'm just going to go ahead and brush on some evaporated milk here. You don't have to use evaporated milk. You could just use regular milk, or you could break an egg and you make an egg wash to brush this on. But I have some evaporated milk on hand, so I decided to use that. So I'm just going to go on and brush this on lightly, and then I'm going to bake this in a 350 degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, this is what they're looking like, and trust me, they're smelling amazing, and my house is smelling ever so good. So here I am brushing on some melted butter, and this is just to give them a little bit of sheen and soften up the top, but nonetheless it's gonna be super delicious. Now that these have cooled down, I'm going to show you what they are looking like on the inside. Growing up, this was one of my favorite things to have for lunch or a snack, and this one was really good. Remember, as I said before, this cheese is not the melting type of cheese, but as we all know, if you know the Jamaican tastee cheese, you know that it's not one for melting. So here I'm going to go ahead and cut into one and show you what it looks like on the inside. This was super soft, tender, and trust me, it tasted amazing. Let me know what you think about this recipe down below, and if you haven't yet subscribed or followed my page, go ahead, share it, and let somebody else enjoy the fruits of their labor. Guys, I thank you so much for watching. Until then, I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.